Hi, this is Emily from Emily and Her Tools, and I'm going to show you how to use black HDPE plastic to make inexpensive yard decorations that can easily be packed away for the next season. So I'm going to turn this plastic into cute bats to put in your yard and maybe even share with neighbors. For this project, I used a design that I created in Vectric VCarve Pro for a sheet of high-density polyethylene, HDPE, for my Next Wave CNC Shark HD 520, as well as the items listed here. First, the material needs to be clamped to the spoil board on the bed of the Shark. I use 4 clamps, one on each side of the plastic, to hold it in place until securing it tightly later. I refer to my program to see where my designs are placed so that my bit doesn't hit the clamps. I learned this the hard way, so now I do this with every project. I secured the V-bit to my 2 horsepower water-cooled spindle since this is the first bit that I will be using for my project. Then, using the LCD pendant, I zeroed the X and Y axes to the top left corner of my material to match my tap files. I call this a home position. I use a few different locations on my material to set my Z axis just in case the material has varying thicknesses or my spoil board isn't smooth. I do this by using a very thin receipt that I place in between the bit and the material and slowly move the bit down until it just touches the paper and the paper can't be moved. Once the Z is set, I move it back to the home position. Now it's time to start my program. With the V-bit still in place and the Z already set, I turn on my spindle, which is set to 18,000 RPMs, and I cut small divots in the plastic that I'll use for placement of screws to secure the HDPE to my spoil board securely. Since the material is not rigid, if you only clamp the outside of the material, the middle of it can bow and mess up your cuts. So I like to secure it with screws in the middle and around the outside of the material. I just use any screw that's the right length to go through the material and not touch the base of my Shark. I changed to the O flute and re-zeroed the Z axis for the new bit. Since I've never cut HDPE before, but I've cut acrylic and aluminum and used the O flute, I decided to use my air compressor to keep the plastic from sticking to the bit, which were issues I faced when cutting those materials before. After cutting one group of words on one bat, I paused my program, turned off the spindle, and looked at the huge mess I was making in my garage. I decided to switch over and use my vacuum instead of the air compressor. I also sprayed some dry lube on the bit to reduce friction, hoping that this would prevent plastic from sticking to the bit. It didn't work at all. The bit was covered in plastic. I stopped the program and the spindle again, cleaned the bit, and went back to using the air compressor, even though it was making a mess. The words cut exactly how I expected, and they looked great. I finished cutting out the words and ran the last program to cut out the bats. I vacuumed the chips, wiped up the dust so that I could see how it looked. I love how everything turned out. I couldn't wait to put them in my yard and show them off. Let me know what you think. Here are the feeds and speeds for the bits I used for this project. I also have them listed below in the description, as well as the program and tap files for you to use for free. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.